The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is The Gloves Are Off.
Welcome to this week's edition of The Gloves Are Off. I'm Moses Bolden. We got a great show for you. We got to introduce our guests first. And, of course, my co-host, Greg Buchanan, your CKSA radio announcer. A great first weekend, too, as well. BJ Carey winning out in North Battleford. And you're also a Junior B Bandits general manager. Plus, we also have this guy, Brandon Bosler, the Lloyd FM morning show co-host, man. What's going on?
Happy to be here.
Right on.
Happy to be here.
All right, perfect. We'll start off with the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Boston Bruins. This is a series that on paper or beforehand, before games 1 and 2, you thought this one can go deep. It could go 7. After 2 games, Boston has annihilated Pittsburgh. Goaltending has been far superior. Their forwards have been far superior. You wouldn't think that, considering the firepower that they have, but if you look at Crosby and Malkin, no goals, no assists, combined for -6. James Neal, -5. Iginla, Dupuis, both -3. Nobody's got any points on the board for them. Does this, or is this a bad omen for the Penguins, and could we see a potential sweep by the Bruins?
I think Pittsburgh's just, we mentioned that they're not playing their own game. They're trying to play a game that's not them, and they're turning the puck over in the neutral zones. Boston's turning it around. They're not beating the Bruin defenders. They're losing the puck, and just like that first goal last night, you see that turnover. You get down 1-0 30 seconds in. That'll change your mindset for the whole game right there.
You have to have hats off. You know, as bad as maybe Pittsburgh's playing, Boston's playing that great. They're taking away time and space away from the stars of the Penguins. Right now, most of the game is being played between the two blue lines, and as a Pittsburgh Penguin, it's pretty tough to score from outside of the offensive zone. And right now, Pittsburgh can't get any pressure in the offensive zone. Last night's turnovers were almost 20-3, I believe, something like that, in favor of Boston. Boston had Pittsburgh turning over that puck left and right. They have Crosby off his game, that first game where he was chatting with Mr. Char, and I believe they weren't talking about dinner reservations. They got Crosby off his game, just similar to what Scotty Hartnell and the Flyers did to him last year. And Pittsburgh looks like a rattled hockey team right now.
And that's what a lot of people are saying. Could we actually see a blueprint start to happen? How you're going to face the Pittsburgh Penguins. You got to attack them. You got to be physical with both Malkin and Crosby. And I think it's maybe we would say the lack of grit on Pittsburgh, but obviously they're not playing their game at all.
No, their game is all the natural skill, right? That talent that they don't have the Luciches or the Marchands, those guys that just dig and work hard for everything they get. But still, you got to think they have enough skill that eventually they're going to start getting back into it.
And as cliche as it sounds right now, for Pittsburgh, they just have to take it a game at a time. They have to go to Boston, try to win Game 3. And then if they win Game 3, try to win Game 4. Try to even up this series going back home. Winning both games in Boston, that's probably a long shot at best. But right now, Pittsburgh does not have anybody that kind of protects Crosby. Back in the day, when Gretzky had anybody kind of bump into him and talk to him, Mr. Semenko would be tapping him on the shoulder saying, oh, well, talk to me instead. And I think that's the way it should be.
All right, we'll talk about another series that's 2-0, the Hawks and Kings. What has impressed you by the Hawks after 2 games?
Well, you just look at their depth, and you're finally seeing these guys like Bickle, who's coming up with big games, big goals, guys like Andrew Shaw, where maybe Taves and Kane haven't played that good in the playoffs. They're just so deep. I think that's why they've been so successful. Yeah,
and you know what? Shaw and those guys played a heck of a series against Detroit, probably one of the reasons why they got past Detroit. And you're just waiting for Kane, and then you look at Sharp and Taves to finally wake up and carry this team, and they have. And Chicago's a deep, deep hockey team, and they are a team that, despite all the finesse that the LA Kings have, they have enough skill to beat them.
And here's the thing. You can't count out Los Angeles just yet. They've had a poor road record, but they played fantastic or great at home. Now the thing is, the way they chased Jonathan Quick, will he bounce back from this? We've seen him time and time again carry a team, but can he do it once again after what happened to him in Game 2?
I think so. I think that change of scenery will help LA. I'm not going to guarantee it, but I have a pretty good feeling they're going to win Game 3. If you look at their record, like you mentioned, 7-0 on home ice in the playoffs, 1-7 on the road. You got to think that home ice will change kind of the play overall.
Yeah, LA's a lot different team at home than they are on the road this year in the playoffs, and there's a lot of distractions in LA for a young hockey team like for Chicago. Let's just say that, and sometimes you kind of lose focus. They are a young hockey team, and you know the stories you hear out of Chicago, they like to have a little bit of fun on the road too. So
You got to think at this time of the year they won't.
well, it's always temptations out there, but but Chicago will be a team that could probably go to LA and get a split though.
They say you don't lose a series. You're not out of it until you lose at home. And LA hasn't lost at home. That's why I think they have a far better chance of coming back before Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh, they're down now. They got to travel. LA's going home. They're going to sleep in their own beds. I think they're not out of it. They
So
can win
game
both
3
at home.
tonight, who's the winner?
LA.
Yeah, I say
Close
LA.
one, though.
Yeah, LA probably in overtime.
All right, well, your lips to, I guess, God's ears to LA Kings fans, right? Is that what they say? We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about John Chick returning to the green and white.